4 o'clock. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, do we have any public comments?
Cindy Van Fossen. Because discussion of Mid-American's proposed Nottoway Valley solar project has been mostly vague and what I would consider gaslighting, both during supervisor meetings and the community meeting held by Mid-American at the Clarinda Country Club, I thought I might bring to the public's attention a few facts the public may not be aware of. First of all, the county supervisors spent months researching, reviewing other area ordinances, and gathering public input before approving the current county solar ordinance on December 12th, 2024. Mid-American does not want to comply with the stipulations such as setbacks, noise, and permit fees set forth in the county ordinance, and therefore hope to trample on local decision-making by going above the heads of our local elected officials. They filed an application with the Iowa Utilities Commission on May 18th, 2026, asking them to approve a generating certificate to move ahead with a 389 total acres project with 300 plus acres occupied by equipment and structures to generate what they say will be a 50 megawatt solar electric generating facility. According to their maps, the facility will be located at the northeast corner of Clarinda along 12th Street, beginning at the road where you turn left to the prison. In other words, yes, directly across from the prison property. When you drive north to have Johnny Barr change the oil in your car, you'll see rows and rows of solar panels to your right. Who is the Iowa Utilities Commission? It is a 3-member policy-making body appointed by the governor and subject to confirmation by the Iowa Senate. They hold staggered 6-year terms. In 2023, state government reorganization moved the IUC from the umbrella regulatory agency of the Department of Commerce and established it as an independent, standalone agency. Their regulatory authority is described in Iowa Code 474.9, Iowa Code Chapter 476, and their own administrative rules. Was the move to a standalone agency done to grant Summit Carbon Pipeline a permit against the wishes of landowners and other advocates against the use of eminent domain? One might draw that conclusion. And now I just want to read a couple of things out of their actual application. And if anybody needs a copy of the application, I went ahead and registered on the website and I downloaded all the documents. So get a hold of me and I can forward digital copies to anybody that really wants to see the whole thing. On page 6, Mid-American respectfully requests that the commission issue the requesting generating certificate no later than September 1st, 2026, to ensure that the proposed project may be placed in service in time to earn production tax credits. In other words, they want those tax credits to increase their coffers. On page 20, there's an interesting footnote, and I'm not going to read the whole footnote, but I just want to kind of skip down through it. It says they began developing the project in spring 2020, and then the Page County Board of Supervisors held an initial work session developing the new county solar regulation in October of 2021. They held additional work sessions to discuss commercial solar facilities in 2021, reviewed the topic in April 2022, and took no further action until February of 23, when the board adopted a 180-day moratorium. Let's see. They extended the moratorium the fall of 2023 and again in 2024. In December of 2024, despite warnings from Mid-American that it was too restrictive to allow commercial solar development in Page County, Mid-American nevertheless continued its outreach in 2025 after our ordinance was approved, hoping that the board would consider amending the ordinance once they understood its impact, including through calls and emails from Mid-American Outreach Manager John Huff. In September of 2025, the board chair indicated the county's solar ordinance would be revisited at an upcoming open meeting. But as of the filing on May 18th, the board has not done so. So in other words, there was communication going on during 2025 that I would be interested to know if all the supervisors were aware of that. Lastly, towards the end, Mid-American respectfully request that the commission exercise its authority under Iowa Code sections to either waive those sections or all of which pertaining to procedural scheduling and hearing requirements in their entireties, or partially waive Commission Rule 2411, which authorizes applicants to begin site preparation activities under specified circumstances. In other words, they want a waiver of even having a hearing with them, with the Iowa Utilities Commission on this project. They just want the Utilities Commission to say, okay, we'll waive all those requirements of the hearings, go ahead. So I think what I would like to say is, I don't think that our Board of Supervisors would really like to give up their authority in our county. I've been here and heard them say they don't like things decided in Des Moines, away from us. Our legislature they're always doing something to take control of something. So I really don't think that the board we have right now wants that to happen. And that's what I'm hoping for. So what I would say is, I really hope that during the discussion, you'll consider talking about having an attorney draw something up as an objection, because if there are no objections, we're going to roll over and play dead, and they are just going to take it and they'll just keep doing it to us and other counties in this state. And we could be part of standing up for other counties too. So thank you.
James Stimson, I've got a couple of things. The Taylor County Board of Supervisors last week had an open meeting, a hearing on whether to set a moratorium in their county. And the moratorium was going to be talking about data centers, solar energy systems, battery energy storage systems, and mineral extraction or mineral right conveyance activities. So I copied off the moratorium that they're going to look at. And they have, interestingly, they have a committee of 10 or more people that are kind of across the board that is going to get together and talk about it. And what I was really impressed with, it was that they're working with Adair, Ringgold, Union, and Adams to work. They'll
Good. Thank you.
maybe you can get one of their copies copied. So they're going to get together in their county, talk about it, bring it back with their results, and then they're going to talk to the other counties and see what results they came up with, which I think is really cool working together. So a moratorium is just set so that you can maintain the status quo while you have time to do research and other studies. Some of the things that were said there were that SERWA, Southwest Iowa Water, has stated that they will not get, if a data center would come in to that area, they will not get any water from SERWA because they've got to serve their customers. FMTC was there, and they encouraged the supervisors to get educated and understand data centers, because if you got too broad of a thing, it would take out data centers that they need that are just maybe one room big. And so you have to figure out there's 5 sizes of data centers: micro, edge, modular, traditional enterprise, and hyperscale. So those things need to be looked at and find out what they were. The comments were progress and it can be good or bad. It looks ahead to the possible outcomes and results. One guy said, whatever you do, tax them heavy. And most of the jobs that are talked about are usually temporary. What got them really going was in Adair, 2 data centers moved in probably like what are they called? A train, what? Yeah, a container. And they're not attached to the ground, so they can't be taxed. So that got them all thinking, we need to get on the ball here. So that's my first one. The second one is about the solar meeting the other day. Interestingly, they gave their spiel and then they broke into stations. And they divided everybody. You can go here, you go to whichever station you want, and you can go and talk to them and get your questions answered. So I've seen that strategy before with Invenergy, and it breaks down the public so that you don't get to hear what's being said over in that one or that one. Whereas if you would just have public questions and answers, everybody could have heard the questions and answers. So it really was very inefficient as a public hearing. And it was very inefficient. It was very efficient to quash the public. I was told there that the solar ordinance was created by one person acting as a lone wolf. And this person was very unfair to Mid-America. He even went ahead and named the person. Todd, do you agree that only one person wrote the solar ordinance?
No, I would say probably not. I mean, I will say that I did a lot of the research and a lot of it was taken from other ordinances across the state. So
Yeah, I was at the meetings. I knew you were involved. So I know there wasn't just one person. And they were public meetings. So any of the public could have been involved and stated what they wanted to state. And so it was done in public for, do you know how long you worked on it? A year.
a year or so, yeah, it was a long time.
So that was better than the wind ordinance of 2019, which got voted on in a meeting before the public knew even anything about it. So that ordinance was done by a couple, well, maybe all 3 of them, of the supervisors at that time, but it was created in a backroom darkness without public input. So I don't really appreciate that Mid-American person thinks that the solar ordinance was written by a lone wolf. And I'm trying to figure out where he got that. It sounds more like gossip than the truth to me.
Any other comments? Okay. JD?
Good afternoon, JD King, Page County Engineer. Fine summer day in Page County. Scattered clouds, cranes, all good construction things. And we'll share some of that later on in the engineer's update, which went out Monday afternoon, as I recall. The blades are out working in the districts. We're hauling rock with 3 trucks, although we did that some yesterday, but probably only a round or 2. Explanation to follow. Pipe crews working on replacing pipe on H Road, which is also M56 or Juniper and J Avenue. We're gonna be working on the bad pipe along that stretch of road ahead of the project. Cement treated basin seal coat project scheduled in fiscal year 28. We're taking care of the pipes ahead of that. They have 1 more on the pavements. And the spray patcher's working over by Shan. Yesterday, we moved 3 trucks from Omaha to Clarinda. Two of those were cabin chassis from International that we're waiting on truck equipment for, and we'd rather have it in our yard than in the Omaha Cornhusker International yard. The third truck was the new truck tractor, hooked that to a belly dump and start pulling that. So we reduce wear on the oldest truck tractor we have, which will be hooked up to the Lloyd Boy when we get our new tractor and our new belly dump trailer. We got a little seal leaking on the Land Pride mower. It's under warranty. And they're working on the brakes on tandem number 45. It's International. Thing that generated the most work and excitement on Monday is the requested change of project start on J53. It was planned to start on the 13th, next Monday. The contractor's schedule had a hole in it, and he wanted to move it forward to Wednesday or Thursday for a start. We are planning to start that project on Thursday, the 9th of July. People have been notified that live along the road with a leaflet handed to them or put on their door. There's been contact with the radio stations about, and KCSI, KMA, news release about the same. So we're starting on this Thursday, laying rock at the Taylor County line, moving east to west. We'll be going from the far east end, placing rock back toward the quarry, and probably at Teak Avenue. When they get to Teak, they'll probably go over to 265th and go toward Teak from there. The method that you'll see out there is you're gonna haul 2,000 ton per mile of aggregate on the road. Once that's placed, then they're gonna bring cement powder and put 5% cement powder by weight on top of the aggregate and then mill it in with a large mill, water it, shape it and compact it. And then that's the cement treated base part. Then we'll come back with the 2 lifts of chip seal for the surface. This is our standard way of rehabilitating our failing seal coats. Been working on other project development. They are working at the annex, the concrete sidewalks. We have some of that in place already. Placed today, and they'll be working on the parking lot the rest of the week. Spill over into next week, I'm certain. We did an inventory with the state auditor last week. The signs for the speed limit changes are on order. And the mid-year conference is in Ames Wednesday and Thursday. Questions about the engineer's update?
Looks like it's J53 will get started and that'll make people happy.
Yes, there'll be inconvenience with access to their property, but it's been a long time coming for those folks over there in Buchanan, East River.
Okay.
The next item is on the agenda. It's fuel bids.
We had it on last week, but we didn't have action on it, so we didn't pass it, so.
Did we end up having to vote on the roads for which
No.
ones were gonna
No.
be?
No,
No, I haven't got those.
Huh?
It takes resolutions. I
Okay,
haven't.
we haven't done that yet?
Correct, we have not.
Okay.
you have a problem with them?
No, I just have, yeah, cause I have some questions,
Okay.
so. when we get, if we do that, that's good.
Okay, so fuel bids.
I do have a comment here compared to last year. Last year's bid for number two diesel was 0.086. This year's bid for number two diesel for the low bid, 0.0838. So
So it's
the
gone down.
margin's gone down a little bit.
Yep. Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the low bid? Is
Yeah, I make a motion, approve low bid for Agriland FS Incorporated.
there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Mhm. Okay. The next item was put on was just to discuss the solar ordinance. I didn't know whether we wanted to or what we wanted to do. So it's just on there after the meeting last week.
Well, so I did kind of start looking through our old ordinance and I went through that ordinance markup that you gave me a couple weeks ago.
Mhm.
And really, the more I thought about it, and there are a couple things that we could probably change, but I'm not willing to change a whole lot. I just think that we need to stick to our principles and our, what we had. And I think if Mid-American wants to go around it and go through other ways of doing it and bypass county rule and have that tagged on their corporation, then I guess that's what they'll have to do. But I don't think we need to concede any changes. There's some minor things in here. There's some wording I agree with that needs to be changed. There was some things like JD had pointed out. There was a thing that was in here that I didn't catch about the scoring of agricultural land that they used to do. They don't do that anymore, so that probably needs to come out. They used to score if it was good cropland. That would make it more attainable or not putting a project there versus taking good cropland out of production. The state does not do that anymore. So definitely we could remove that because that's really something that we can't enforce or do. But the all of the things that are in the ordinance came from other ordinances. So it wasn't items that we looked up, and I don't know if you guys remember, well, Brian wasn't here, I don't think, but Judy, when we put that together, we would do different sections and we'd highlight and go through and talk about, I think we broke it into sections so we didn't have to look at the whole ordinance each
I
time.
think we mainly looked at Mills County.
Yeah,
That's one of
because
the big ones.
Mills County was one of the
Yeah.
closest ones to us and had a good foundation so for that. So
But we did put more restrictive in a couple places than they had.
some, yeah, sure. But I think, at the time, I remember, them, I know Mid-American said that they weren't real pleased with it, but they were going to see what they could do to work within the guidance of the ordinance. And so, that was really kind of the last communication that I had with them, after we had passed that. And so really nothing had been said to me until, here probably last 6 months, maybe. I think John maybe said something about it. And then he had called me and told me that they were going to pursue this route through the IUC. And which I told him, that's fine, if that's the route you guys want to go. And, so I guess my thought is I do agree that we need to have, whenever this hearing is an IUC, we need to be able to have some say in standing up for our ordinance, at least at that board. Because otherwise it becomes a slippery slope and they're going to use that for everything. And then where do we end up being able to control our own destiny? I mean, if we're gonna let them come in and just say, hey, we're gonna use the IUC as a way around everything that this board decides, then there's no point of having a supervisor board to represent the people of the county. So,
I think, go ahead.
no, but I just think it's important that we have some representation, or, I'm not sure the process of how to get, when they schedule a hearing, how to get on that. But I do think it's important that we have some representation from the board backing our ordinance, or at least support for our ordinance, so that they at least understand that, hey, this big conglomerate is gonna take and make a workaround and, kind of a bypass to any county government rule, and basically saying that we don't care what your citizens or your board says, we're gonna put this project in. And so I think we need to at least show some resistance to that and not just back down.
I think one of the things that we asked after we got the ordinance done was that John Huff or Mid-American contact the landowners that were close to the project. And I know when I mentioned earlier, I think Jane alluded, I mentioned that we were going to talk about it in January, because that was my understanding with the supervisors, that once that John visited with those people and there weren't objections, that we would go back and look at it a little bit and maybe ease it up a little bit, like the setbacks and stuff. But that hasn't happened, and John did do it. John did visit with the landowners.
Okay.
And so, he withheld his end of the bargain, but,
Do we know what the responses were from the landowners? Cause I don't know.
and and some of them that I know, nobody had an issue. Keith and Jean, I think, worked their thing out with Mid-American when they had that 2-hour sit down a couple weeks ago. So,
Okay.
I think, the people around that project, not from different parts of the county, but the people around the projected project, or the proposed project, are okay with it. So I guess I thought that, we would uphold our original thing, that if he would talk to them and people weren't up in arms and didn't object to the project, that we would ease it up a little bit. So that's where I was with what was going on.
Okay.
So, but anyway,
Well, in that scenario, you really don't have to mess with the ordinance. You can leave it intact. There's one other option. This project was already in the process before your ordinance came out. We can do a separate deal just for this project. Your ordinance can stay the same. You don't have to do anything there. We can just okay this separate project.
okay,
So if you don't wanna try to beat him, but
at least we're making an
Yeah.
effort. Yeah,
so, I mean, that's one thing. Another thing is, I agree with Todd that they laid the cards on the table.
I know.
So let's
I
see
know.
where it goes.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean,
yeah,
I don't like that at all. I don't like that they're doing that, and
Well, they apparently didn't think you were gonna be quick enough. So
well, it's
this all
been,
comes down to time.
and I know, and since it's been going since 2020, 2020. It's been 6 years, and so I think they would like to move it forward, and I know the landowners would, that are involved in this, so, yeah, I guess this is the
So what
route that
happened?
they decided to do.
And none of us are here from the previous board that was on
Right.
at that time when that project was talked about.
Yeah,
2020,
and I don't
so,
know anything, yeah, I didn't know
Oh.
anything about it until, when I
Yeah, I
first
don't-
got on the board, then, Gordy Boo came and talked to me about the project.
Yeah.
And that was the first I knew about it.
yeah, so I didn't know anything about it until, I think I got a phone call from Mid-American talking about it.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I
Yeah.
didn't know there was a project. Oh, yeah, we could act, well, they actually called me after we put a moratorium in. Because they were worried that they were trying to say that their project was already in the works. And I said, I have no record of a project being
Yeah.
in Page County. I have no idea what you're
Hadn't
talking
paid
about.
any attention,
So-
so I didn't know either.
But. Yeah, I don't want to give them an easy. I don't think we need to make it easy for them just to have them. Have that. Say, we're gonna just approve this project because. You know, everybody around it wants it or is okay with it.
Yeah.
But, cause I think it's important that they're going. That, you know, the public. Even throughout the state, I think the public needs to know that these corporations are willing to do this to get whatever they want. And, you know, it doesn't matter. So this time you back down and you say, okay, yep, you can have it there because all the people around it say so. But what happens if there's a data center or there's another solar farm that they want to put in or more windmills? And you get, you know, are they gonna use the same tactics? You know, I think we draw a line in the sand and we say, you know what, we did a lot of work on this ordinance. This is what our constituents have voted for, the majority of the people, otherwise we wouldn't be sitting here. And, you know, that's where, you know, we're going to stay. And if the IUC comes out and they say, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and allow them to build the project, then so be it. At least then we know there's probably some bigger legislation that we're gonna have to encourage our state representatives and things to bring up to stop that rule from going further, but at least it will put all the other counties on notice to say, hey, this is what's happening to Page County. And we may need to wake up and realize that this is a way that they're gonna go around us, not, you know, listen to what the people want.
I guess. And I don't like, I would rather that we be the ones to say it's okay, or maybe make an exception for this. Since the project's been going on for so long, I think what we're doing also is we're penalizing the landowners who want to do this. First, and I don't want to bring, wind in, I don't want to bring data centers in, I don't want to bring nuclear in, which have all been mentioned. At this point, this is solar. And I think the people who own the land have invested their time and effort and money in this for the last 6 years and would like it to proceed. And then we've had everybody coming who doesn't have a stake in it. I mean, they do as a county, but not in that particular land, who are saying, oh, you're taking it out of production. Well, that's nobody's business with the landowners. That just because they take some land out of production. And I don't know where I saw the article yesterday, but they have cattle grazing under some of the solar now. Did you see that? Must have been on Facebook or something. But anyway, they talked about sheep, but now they're talking, they were showing cattle under the solar panels. So as much as I don't like what Mid-American is doing, do we need to at some point make a good faith effort to show that, you know, we sort of support our landowners and a project, and it also there's not a lot of money in a solar project, but there's some money revenue that could come into the county. It's not like the turbines, but anyway, that's just my feeling on it, so. But Brian makes a good point, we could do a thing just for this one project. If we so desire, but I know where you're coming from,
Well,
too,
and I'm
because you don't want Todd, no more, because you don't want Todd to, you don't want Todd. No, I lost where I'm going.
sorry.
Anyway,
I,
you don't want Mid-America
right.
to bully us.
Well, yeah, right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't, so I get it. This project is a little bit different just because we have 3 landowners that live here in the county, I
Mm.
believe.
There's 23 and more than
I
3
think-
live here,
Right, but I
but
think
the main ones,
the 3 that are involved in the
Yeah,
project
yeah.
live here.
right?
One of them's a trust.
Oh, one
One
of
of
the
them's what?
trust.
One of
Okay.
them's in a big trust.
So I guess
Yeah.
my thought is too, then, how do we have, I think, when we talked through the wind, I think it was like 70% of the landowners were out-of-state landowners
Yeah, I know.
in the county.
Yeah.
So we have people that don't live here that really don't care about farming. They don't care about the ag land. They don't care about if we have, they see it as open space and investment. And I think in order to protect that, we need to try to make, farmland stay farmland and keep Iowa as much as possible. It's an agriculture community. I know what you're saying. The landowners have every right to do
Yeah.
what they want with their land. In some cases, that's true. Some cases, they have to go through and get petitions and state things to build stuff on their lands, certain sizes and everything. And I'm not going to rehash everything we talked about with wind, but it just feels like whatever we can do to try to ensure that Iowa is agriculture for the next generation. And if somebody doesn't like it, sell the land and move. I mean,
Well, and then they may send it.
they can sell the land probably and make way more than they're gonna
And-
make off this solar.
And they'll
with somebody.
probably sell it to an absentee landowner.
Well, yeah, they
That's the
might.
whole thing, yeah.
They might,
So,
and
Yeah.
I know,
No more comments, Jake.
the family farm, as we used to know it, is deteriorating.
Yeah,
It's
right.
gone, and farming
Right.
is terribly expensive, and but I don't think we help anything by getting rid of the ag land and putting commercial on it. The other point I would like to see, and this is kind of a far-fetched idea, and I have brought it up before, is if you think about Alaska, for instance, they have a lot of oil drilling. All that oil drilling, the citizens of Alaska get a dividend check off of that every year. So if Mid-American is using our land to tap into energy resources and then turning around and selling that energy onto a grid, and they're selling it to other states or wherever it's going, to me, that's no different. And why wouldn't we try to push some kind of deal that, hey,
They
you know
pay
what?
us.
Yeah, you're gonna pay
Yeah.
the residents of this county a fee for, using up their resources and selling it because they're making money somewhere. They wouldn't be doing it if they weren't making money. And so I think that's something that I might try to pursue with the state to say, you know what, if we're gonna put these wind turbines and we're gonna put all this stuff up, why can't the citizens share in those revenues? And
At least let us tax the,
Tax them, yeah.
yeah, well, yeah,
exactly.
so
Yeah,
that's the other thing. Do we
Yeah.
get to tax it as industrial or
Yeah.
commercial instead of ag?
it's just gonna stay the ag.
tax, it probably would be taxed. I'm not sure about solar. The wind turbines are done as utilities. So I'm not sure whether solar would be utilities or not. That one I would
Yeah.
have to check in.
But I know, and I think they said it was only $50,000 of income that we're gonna get. Well, we get 10,000 today, property tax off that, but we get an additional 50.
Yeah.
with the solar on it. So it's not like we're making millions for the county.
So you're, just to sum all this up, your thought is just to let it ride and let them go ahead with the
I would,
IUC.
yep, let's see what the IUC does and see.
That yours, Brian? Or what do you want to do?
We're just talking, so we're not voting here. So
No, I don't, I just want like a consensus.
I already said that. They played the cards, so.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
What are your thoughts on having some representation? Do we need to reach out to like Ehlers and Cooney or talk to them about what we need, if we need a statement drawn
Mr.
up?
Varley, you've read the IUC thing?
How does that work? Do you know, like,
Well, there are a variety of ways. I have not been,
sorry, sorry, to put you on the spot.
I've not done a lot of research into it. I did look at the materials that were sent to me. There's a variety of ways we can comment and on public hearings and things. As far as Ehlers and Cooney's involvement, if this is going to turn into an extended fight like we had with wind turbines, I'd be inclined to get them involved earlier than later.
Yeah,
I'm a pretty good criminal attorney, but I have no idea the ins and outs of the Iowa Utility Commission and the time it would take me to get up to speed. We might already be behind the 8 ball. Likewise, my duration as the county attorney here is only about 6 more months. So we probably have to bring somebody else on board
well,
and get them up to speed if this is going to be a.
my assumption is it would not turn into like a lawsuit count battle.
Right.
It would just be more of, we need to have proper representation at this hearing to state our case so that whatever the IUC comes up with or makes their decision, at least we've been represented on our side to portray our ordinance and the thought behind it, whether that's one of us speaking or,
Sure.
what,
I think
or
I
an
think
attorney
it's said
representing
that
us.
somebody could be there and could respond.
Okay, is
I
there,
believe.
I didn't know if there's an application that has to be turned in before you can get on
I didn't bring it with.
to notify them that you
Have you-
want
have you-
interest?
To the commission.
I have not yet, no.
I think I emailed it to you.
Yeah, you probably did, but it's probably in my new email.
But I will email it to you
Okay.
and you can get on. I'm on, but you can come and get
Okay.
on if you need to look at everything. But there is a timeline
Okay,
that they've set forth.
you
already.
don't know what that is, do you?
I was
or-
looking through my paperwork. and
I didn't bring it, I guess.
That's the.
I knew I knew that there was some kind of deadline, but I wasn't sure when it
And it's
was.
soon.
Yeah,
It's
okay,
aggressive.
okay,
Yeah.
all
So,
right,
you wanna do that, John?
Yep.
Did you see that one with the timeline?
All I saw was needed to file within, it had been 30 days ahead of the hearing, but I couldn't find where the hearing had been set.
Okay,
Yeah, I saw it. There's a schedule of, so it wouldn't let me print it, so.
okay. I'll get on there and look
okay,
and, yeah, and we could talk more next week.
Yeah.
If that's all right.
that's fine. Yeah,
Okay.
let's just do that now and Todd can research it or we can all read it and then we'll talk about it again next week. So, and as far as mentioning data centers, ISAC is working on that right now. They have many of the supervisors that are a part of the discussion. And I don't want us to jump and do something until we know what the other counties are doing at this point and we don't need
No.
to shoot ourselves in the foot.
I know
to
Mills
begin with.
County looked at theirs and I thought they said that they already had, they passed on doing one because of their zoning
Yeah.
rules protected them from
Well,
certain things,
I think
but
the way the water is in Page County that they probably wouldn't
I
even
wouldn't think
look at
they'd want
Page
to.
County, so
Well, you would think.
anyway,
but-
yeah. Battery storage is another thing that's coming at some point. There was I thought, a volatile Facebook post on the other day, and there's like 140 comments on it. They brought wind in. Then somebody even suggested we want nuclear, and I'm thinking, I think that's the least thing I want around here. So, anyway,
Might be the
yeah.
safest.
Well, I don't know. Somebody else said nuclear fission is the future, so we'll see. Okay. Let's just, talk about this again next week and we'll see where we go. Okay, our next item is, discuss Page County Policy Manual. I asked Kristen what was in the policy manual because, we had policies, but we mainly went by the personnel policy and other things when I was here, and she showed me this book and I looked through it, and there's so many redundant policies that have been done, redone again, and so I think it just needs to be cleaned up, and I think maybe someone in the auditor's office might, and I can work with you too, and we can look at that and see what we need to do. It
Would that be
deals with
something-
hotel, motel, meals.
Yeah.
There's one thing on HIPAA policies, and I think that's in there twice, and it's a huge portion. There's another one on EMA, and it's in there twice, and it's a big portion of it.
Would
There's
it be
just some
something that
dumb
we could
stuff.
have like a work session?
We
Like
could.
did with the budget?
Yeah, we could.
Just kind of go.
We could do it
through
after
as a
the me-
group.
yeah,
and
We could
scrub
do it after a meeting and
Yeah.
do it, yeah.
Is that,
But we need to point out, I wrote some things on things that were the same as the other one, so.
okay,
So there's like the hotel meals and mileage. No, the mileage has gone with the federal one, so we don't need to worry about that one, but the meals, hotel, has been changed. And then it's been the same for years. And so many of the meetings now are paid for, like the big ISAC meetings, because we can't go out to eat like we used to and out into the, skywalk and
They
stuff.
provide meals.
They provide the meals,
Yeah.
that's included in the registration.
Saying.
Yeah,
I
so
think
there's,
no reason for me to go out to eat
Yeah.
if they're providing me one. If I
Yeah.
decide not to eat what they're providing me,
Yeah.
I should have to pay for it myself.
and I don't know whether the sheriff, when they do the jail,
but
school
they
and
only
stuff,
do one.
do they provide your meals?
I mean,
Or you have,
lunch and,
yeah,
yeah,
and I don't know whether you're following the policy or not, so. Of course you are.
Don't worry, we check.
We'll check on it. Yeah, I'm sure they
No
check on it when the
steak
claims come in, so, yeah,
no steak dinners.
We need to go over forms of communication,
need to go over what?
forms of communication, no private emails. no-
And that's in the law. So
Right.
that's not a policy, that's in the law, we don't talk to each
Then
other.
how do you
Yeah.
enforce that?
You just are on, you don't, I mean, there's nothing that, you just do it on your honor. Yeah,
So then we need a policy.
I can,
If, I had a question about,
if you're in a social situation, it's
If-
fine, if you're not talking business.
is our emails that we have on our government, so our supervisor email account, those are public. So if a person from the public came in and said, I would like to see all of Todd Mayer's emails, can they pull all those up and then that is covered under the Information Act, right?
Well,
Right.
that's why it's important to use your county email.
Right.
Because you shouldn't be using a personal email. for-
Sure, right.
For business,
Yep.
yeah.
No.
Under the open records law.
Right.
If you're conducting official business,
Mhm.
no matter what the media you're doing it on, it's subject to disclosure.
Okay.
So I went to, we had a Zoom meeting with Iowa County Attorneys Association recently where they went over this, and there are some notorious frequent users of the open records law to obtain records from various government offices, to include county attorneys' offices. And if you're using a private cell phone, for instance, to text things of a government nature with people, then that too would be subject to disclosure.
Sure.
So the best practice is to use your government email address, or if you had a government phone, using that. Because Corey Klein, for instance, when we get a request that comes in, he can do like a word search through all the county's emails and pull up and have a complete disclosure. But if you're using your private Gmail or Yahoo account, he doesn't have access to that, so he'll not see that. And if we don't disclose that, that can be a violation of the Open Records Act.
Yep, okay.
And the other thing is if a virus or something comes through and somebody clicks on it, Corey can automatically just close it down.
Yep.
You're right, Corey?
Had a lot of those lately, huh?
Okay.
Hmm,
So
yeah,
he can go in and it just helps.
yeah. I think the only thing I've been guilty of lately is Todd said something about he wasn't gonna be home. He was gonna be in Wisconsin. And I think I accidentally clicked on a thing and said, okay. So it's like, okay, whatever. But
Well, and I
as
tried-
far as us talking outside the boardroom, we don't talk to each other. So. About business. I mean, you can talk, like before the meetings, we can talk about how his trip was or whatever else, but we don't talk about business. So. That's a given. And a policy won't cover it because it's the law, Brian. So. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, okay.
I brought up 3 policies that we need to look at. And I just thought if you guys wanted to take them home, Jim did have a chance to look at them. 2 of them are,
He did.
and he said they're fine. The state auditor wanted us to put the first 2 in, and the second one, we now have some dispatch employers that are working as jailers. This might be something that would need to go into the handbook. So I have sent our handbook to Ehlers to look at. It needs to be looked at every year.
Okay.
There are some updates, so I'd like to go have a meeting where we all go over the handbook as
I
well.
think that'd be a good idea. We'll do it after the meeting like we did with the other,
Yeah.
with the budget. And go through those policies.
That's a work session.
Yeah, it's a work session. Yep. Where we're not unofficial, but we're
But if
just,
you guys are okay, I'll
open.
put these on to approve next week so that we have them
Okay.
done for, the auditors are gonna start coming again.
Yep.
In
that
July.
seems impossible. They just got done. It's always the way it is.
And if you want to add that work session next week, could do that
That's fine.
at the end of the meeting if anybody has any issues with that.
Is that okay, Brian?
Good.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
Do you want me to put policies? Is that what you wanna?
Yeah.
I
I'd
would say just review of
policies.
policies. Yeah. Yep.
Or review and update policy guidelines or policy structure.
In the meantime, if we need to figure out, I guess we could look at that list that you have to see and pull out all of them that refer to the same thing. The doubles and triples and whatever. Okay. Okay. I think in years past, we just tried to cover everything with the personnel policy, but
You tried to cover.
with the personnel policy, most of this stuff. Yeah.
that, I guess.
Except you don't want to be changing the personnel policy all the time either.
But they want us to look, they do want us to look it over every year.
Personnel policy, yes.
Yes.
And do you want to mention the secondary road? No. Yeah, oh wait,
No idea.
okay. Couldn't understand what I said, could you?
No.
Okay, we had a possible tour after the meeting of the jail, but they're a little busy down there. And they were putting flooring in and dispatch was moving in and Charles is here to tell us all about it.
Yes, ma'am. If you guys would like to go down and see it today, I'd be more than happy to take you. They are right now epoxying the floors. So there's quite a bit of it we can't actually go on to. Next week, actually Thursday, they're supposed to be out of there and we'll be able to walk on it after Thursday. So if you want to do it next week, we can see the whole facility versus dispatch.
I would rather do it all at once than piecemeal it, wouldn't you?
And by then dispatch will be there.
Yeah.
They were there at 5 o'clock this morning. And by noon, they actually had most of the desks moved to the new facility and
Wow,
they're going pretty good.
that's more than they were gonna do, isn't it?
Yeah, and I talked to
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Summer said everything is going very well,
Yes,
good,
very well.
there's a lot of things going good right now.
good.
Yes,
Sounds wonderful.
perfect.
Okay,
So more on this, since we got this up. I want to see everything that's, being spent, what's left, what we got to do. Any work order any changes that's gonna come up here at the end, because we're getting down to the end. So we need to be paying attention. So any change orders that are coming through, I want it to come to the board. We'll
Well-
discuss it.
And those applications that you guys signed, those have everything on it. I gave you a copy of the latest one.
Mhm.
Every month when they pay, it says on there.
Yeah, right.
And then I did give you a printout of, everything that has been spent and all of the revenue, interest, and the bonds that have come in.
And I believe, Brian, that you said that you didn't know anything about what is it, Muffin Master, Muffin?
It's I believe it's called the Muffin Master. It
That's
is
what I thought,
a
okay, and I
smooth
had,
Grinder is what.
I
it is.
had mentioned it a couple weeks ago that, that they were getting that. And I went back to my bid notes. We had two meetings. We had one 7/11/24, and the other one was 11/12/24. And in both of those meetings, it was mentioned there. So we put it aside at that point.
Was
And
it
and we're
mentioned?
waiting, huh?
Was it mentioned, but we didn't?
No, it was part of the bidding thing, but we did not take it at that time because we said we will wait till we get further into the jail and then we'll do it.
But weren't we we were talking about costs
Right.
and trying to wait and see where
Right.
we were gonna.
And we didn't do we didn't do the
finish
kitchen
up, right,
stuff.
we didn't do the kitchen
Yeah.
stuff. And we
Right,
didn't-
that was all in
yeah.
here,
So
the food service.
somewhere somewhere we voted or we didn't vote, but we just went ahead and paid the additional price to put this in. Somewhere we talked about it. I don't know where it was because I don't recall ever saying, oh yeah, we've got the funds for this and we're gonna go ahead and do it.
Well, it was kind of a have to thing, basically.
Right. I think initially, whenever it started, it was a matter of, will we need this?
Yeah,
And then I think a little bit further down the line, yes, we will have to have one of
Yeah.
these. So,
Okay.
and I don't know if you guys voted on it or how that,
Yeah, I
I
don't-
do not know.
and the price kept going up
So was that,
from July to November.
was that a change order that came through for that then? Because it wasn't in the original bid?
I suppose it might have been, I'm not sure.
I thought it was in the original bid.
Well, we got bids for it.
Right.
Okay.
So one bid was 74.
How much is that? Do you know what?
And the
that
other,
Muffin
the
thing
next
is?
one was
I do not
100.
know the price on it right now.
Okay.
The
It is
next
not
one was
new.
109, but I think it's more than that now.
Yes.
So I do know, looking at this sheet that Kristen gave us, so we have $107,000 of change orders. From what I can tell.
I have not seen that. No.
And there have been a
Yeah.
lot of change orders. Some have
There's-
been up, some have been down, but that's
Yep.
the total amount.
Yeah, and there was, so additions, there was a total of 238,900. There was a deduction of 131,393 of a reduction in price. That was a change orders. And then the other 107,507 is additional stuff that we've changed that went up in price. So that 107,507 is what I've been trying to find out what those items were. Just to see, what we have been spending.
And
That's-
one came through today with a change order for the concrete. And it's a decrease of $19,817. That's the change because the floor wasn't level. And that was the deduct of the epoxy floor due to the flatness being out of tolerance for a total of $19,817. Kristen asked for Kurt to send everything, but she hasn't gotten it yet, so.
Next week, if you guys want to do the tour, we can have Tony there, we can have Chris there. And that way we'll have everybody there that knows exactly what's going on, where.
Chris should be on the agenda next week.
Is he? Okay.
We need to decide whether we're going to do the work session after or go for a tour. So. You want to put the policy thing on for
Rather
another
do the
week?
tour and do the policy the following week.
That's fine, yeah.
For you guys.
Yeah,
Yes, that's perfect.
yeah. And as far as any that we go over. In years past, I'd say for probably the last 8 years or so in the local option tax, there's been money put aside for the jail. Every year. So that's what some of our local option money is. That was put in for buildings and that meant the jail, so.
Well, we can take out of the balance for infrastructure,
Right,
the property.
because
tax.
that's where it was, that was where it was put aside.
Just put in infrastructure.
So back to this change order.
Mm-hmm,
What does it, so when it's talking about the original contract sum was 1,049,044. And then we had a net change, previous authorized change order of 38,754.05. What is this sum of 1,049,000? What is that off of?
which one are you?
This-
You're looking at that
Yeah,
one.
looking
I don't
at this
have a
one.
copy, I don't have another copy of it. This is I'm looking at the last thing that we paid. I think Kristen gave us the copies of this one,
Yeah,
where we're on here. Talking about, we got the original contract and it comes down and then to all of the amount. And part of the retainage is in there too. It says the net change of,
5% is what the retainage is.
yeah, but the net change by change orders is 107,000. So there's some up and some down. They've added some, they've subtracted some. It just depends on what they're doing. Each change order.
yeah, but then it says the new contract sum, including the change order, will be 1,067,981.
So that's what they're,
So I'm just trying to figure out what
if
that's,
you look at this.
yeah,
It's like the third one for sticklers
okay.
down.
Can you make copies of that for me? And maybe for Brian? Please. Alright. Forgot my manners. Maybe, is it working? Oh, sure. Oh, okay.
It's quiet. That's really quiet.
Take that.
One,
Oh, this one.
one so far. Tony was supposed to get all this, but he's been.
You've been a little busy. Busy.
A little busy.
We also have interest added in too, so yeah,
It's on the review sheet that I-
right, yeah. Yep,
And then
We received a lot of revenue for
Interest.
Interest.
The Richmonds.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You have your change orders and then you have your application and certification of payment. So
So then the overall thing then looked like that we were maybe 502,850 is what we still owe. Is that
Still close.
correct? No, on the current payment. It says current payment due 502,850.
So that's the one we're gonna pay.
next
Next
bill
bill
cycle.
cycle.
Okay,
And then the balance is 423, 174.96.
okay. And so the total ended up being, well, it says total completed and stored to date 16.384, 16,384,332.
32, that's total that we completed. But they take out retainage out of that, so that number also includes that 738, 198.
Tony's been keeping all of the change orders.
Tony has all the.
He has all the records, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So
But that's,
we might ask him to come next week, maybe,
yeah, I already-
and just,
he was gonna try to come this week, but
just so he can,
he sent Charles instead.
Yes, if we weren't moving dispatch, the next
no,
3
that's
days,
fine.
he would have been here with me, but,
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah, that's.
So
moving dispatch is more important.
Oh, I got it, but
column I includes column L.
what are you looking at on that other page back here?
Yeah.
Oh. Um, I'm just looking at, so,
So I includes previous and this period, so F and G.
so are we gonna come in under budget? We're not. We're,
Yeah, right now.
right now, we're at 16.3.
393. Column D.
Oh, yeah, 130, yep, 131 negative.
That's our under budget for that.
Okay. Okay. Good to know.
I think they've been doing everything they can to keep it down, so.
Yeah, I just would agree with Brian that,
Don't forget, we had to pay like bond fees.
right,
That's all included in what we've paid and, but we've also made more interest, which is the sheet I gave you.
yes,
So. With interest, we have 17,902,744,
okay,
including the bonds and the interest.
good.
Yeah, you just need to be informed. Kept up to date on this.
Well, and that's what you do every month when you're
Yes.
paying bills. You've got that
Everything,
information
these
given
bills
to
that
you.
you sign.
Yeah, we all get those.
But I don't think we've
Look at
gotten the
those.
change orders.
Yeah.
No, the change orders, no, but it shows on here.
And if you want to.
Yeah.
Just
For the
being-
rest of them, let's just
Yeah.
go through them when we pay
Right.
claims, if that
Yeah.
works for you guys.
Well, yeah, I just think if we get a change order in, it should just come to the board. And then we decide
that's where
whether we're gonna.
Tony's
accept
been
it or
getting
not.
it, yeah.
Okay. But you've been signing them.
I've been signing them because,
So-
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, but I can't print them. They don't like my printer. They don't, I printed it half and half today. I had to put it on,
Well, and you can
The
look
other-
at different, all this stuff on
yeah,
Procure
yeah.
that goes on every day.
It's not on there.
But I couldn't find the change orders either.
No, they could not find anything that's,
You can get all the day-to-day stuff and all of the, anytime they have a question.
Yeah, it's-
There's like, what, 100 and.
yeah, I saw all this stuff that they have like work issues and they put that in there and if they're waiting on a contractor. I got all that, but there is no change order data.
And then do you see where he shows like if they're having any delays and why?
Chris pretty much puts those in his report.
Daily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's always good to know. And then if somebody is not following up and they're not there when they're supposed to be, then it's down at the bottom.
Yeah, and
So, yeah.
I'm going through all this with the state auditor and she's here too.
Okay.
So, okay, we answered the questions?
Yep.
Enough? Okay. All right, board communication.
I don't have anything.
You go to landfill meetings?
Had a landfill meeting last week.
Anything exciting?
We made money.
Good,
Did
Good
very
deal.
well. Did very well.
good. That's better than not making money.
Yep.
Okay, I had an interagency meeting today. There's probably, I'd say at least agencies represented at most of these meetings. Zion, and the different areas at Zion, are sometimes there. One of them was there today. We have people that deal with children. We have people that deal with, we had a gentleman today from Grinnell who has a fairly new place, for people with addiction. And one of the big things that was of interest to people is that if someone is approved to go to Grinnell to this facility, they will even come and get them. Which is a big thing as they talk today. Sometimes there are services available, but the travel or the getting the person there is not available. And sometimes they use so many acronyms that, anyway, they were talking about the one that's supposed to come and pick people up, that lots of times they don't show up to take them. So, Wabansi was there, Angels from, Shenandoah, the hospital here in town. There's just a lot of them, and, the little spiel today was on children, small to 18, and, trying to help whatever they're needed. And we did talk about homelessness in Page County. So, one of the gals said that there's a blind eye turned in Page County, that we don't think there's homelessness, but there is. There are people that are homeless. So, yeah. Yeah. So anyway. Okay. Minutes of June 30th.
Do you want to talk about the roof at all?
Oh, yeah, the big cranes out there. Yeah, and, go ahead.
They told me today that they plan on starting the removal on Thursday. So currently they're taking the cables and they're taking them from the flagpole area.
I saw they were down.
And then they're gonna assemble them. They're gonna put them on the red iron. Or that's underneath the clock tower. Have you been up to the clock tower inside?
No, I haven't been up.
It's a square.
It's a big
Just
square.
square.
They call it red iron.
Yeah.
It's red, I guess.
It's what they fit the very first portion of the tower over.
So I talked to Gary at the city yesterday and we are going to have to block off the eastbound lanes on Washington Street. While they take all this down. So they let us borrow some barricades and we'll just do it during the work hours so that people can still park for the businesses at night for supper and stuff. Is the plan, because we wanna, make sure that,
As long as they move the trucks,
yeah.
because they'll be taking the parts down and putting them on the trucks,
And
the long bed.
They have the spot that they're letting us use
Yeah.
to kind of store some trucks and stuff
Oh,
while
okay.
this is going on.
Yeah.
So everybody has worked really well together. I'm
Good.
collaborating,
Yeah.
so.
Big project.
It is a big project, and then, the guy that's working on the roof was here all working all day, and he was here yesterday. And then we've got dispatch that's moved, which is fantastic. I think they're all excited to move, so yeah. So anything else? Lots of things moving, okay. June 30th minutes,
Make a motion for the minutes as stated.
Second.
all in favor? Aye. And our next item is to adjourn.
Motion adjourned.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 5:14.